Hey Ezra, sorry about the really weird lighting. My lamp is kind of my only option. I'm too lazy to go up and get the one back there. So, anyway, I apologize for the day late video. We've already talked about this on Facebook. So anyway, I will move on. So this next part of Interview with the Vampire that we've read, it starts with Claudia's starting to wonder. She's a full-fledged vampire now. So she's starting to wonder more about how she was created and who, and all the questions that young kids answer: who, what, when, where, why, that type of thing. So she figures out that Louis kind of started her process, and that she was mourning over her dead mother, and he decided to go bite her and drain the life out of her, but he couldn't. So then Lestat ultimately finished the job, and that's how she became a vampire. So she gets really mad at Lestat, and I'm kind of curious, like, why she's not more mad at Louis. Like, she's really in love with him, and I'm starting to get, like, I know I can't really tell how long she's been with Louis and Lestat, but it must have been a while, maybe 5-10 years, I would guess. So, no, it'd have to be more because she's like an adult now, technically. I'd say like more between 10 and 15 then. So she's been with them for like 10 and 15 years, and Louis is still treating her like a doll, and she's like, I'm an adult, yo. And yeah, so she demands to know why, and she's really not that mad when she finds out that Louis was even a part of her becoming a vampire, even though he's pretty much the one that started it. She's more mad at Lestat because he finished it, and like he didn't care about her when he did it. He just kind of figured, we need to get rid of her, and if you can't, we're gonna keep her. So she gets really mad, and then she threatens to kill Lestat, and eventually she makes a really strong attempt. And this is just really bothering me that the light is so off kilter. Anyway, so she makes a huge attempt to go and kill Lestat, where she lures these two little boys. And I feel like there was a woman, but I think he was just like kind of jesting at Lestat was kind of jesting at Claudia. It's like, hey, you'll never reach that because you're a grown woman in a child's body. So that was a real low blow. But I couldn't help but laugh, just a little bit, just my morbid humor. So anyway, Claudia brings two boys home, and she poisons at least one of them, if not both, with absinthe, just by giving them too much. And this is the curious part for me, like, Lestat's reaction, where he just kind of, it feels like he's seducing this little boy that he's decided to take, and that Claudia has given him. So, I don't know. It was more weird to me just because it was a child and he was doing things that are rather sexual. And I'm also like, I don't know, that just struck me as really weird, and I'm kind of wondering what's going through Lestat's brain, if he's like regressing, or no, not regressing. Yeah, regressing, maybe. How could he though? Psychology is weird. But maybe he's like remembering his childhood or something like that, at the very least. So I'm wondering what the significance of this little boy and Lestat's reaction to this little boy is. There, that's my question. I got it out. Yay. So yeah, I'm wondering about that. And also, how did he not realize that the little boy was dead? Because I feel like that's just like, as a vampire, if you're extra receptive to everything, that would be something that would be like the first thing to come up. It's like, oh, I can't have this, he's dead, I'll end up getting really, really sick and might die. But anyway, he drinks the little boy's blood and gets like super tipsy, because I guess the little boys might not have been able to handle the absinthe, but Lestat can to an extent, so he's like super drunk and really sick because he drank from a dead body, I guess. And then Claudia just kind of goes after him, and she's like, oh, father, I'll take you to your coffin, I'll take you to your coffin forever. And he's like, what, Claudia, Louis, stop her. And she's just kind of goes after him. Louis doesn't do anything really, but Claudia goes after him and like slashes his throat, or just kind of beats him up pretty badly, and eventually gets to the point where both Louis and Claudia strongly believe that he's dead. So then they, of course, can't just like leave him on the floor. That's not decent. So they wrap him up in a towel or on a sheet, and then they pack up the little boys, and they go out. They get out of New Orleans to dispose of the bodies. So they go to Lake Pontchartrain, and this is kind of cool for me just because I've been to New Orleans, so I'm like, while I'm not absolutely familiar, I'm more familiar. It's relatively familiar. There we go. As a visitor, so it was really cool to like hear about these places that I've seen in person. And Lake Pontchartrain is just enormous. Like when I visited there, we went on a bridge and went across it, and it actually takes half an hour to cross that bridge, and not just because of traffic. That's like moving at a normal pace. So it's ginormous. And they go by that lake anyway. Okay, so after Lestat is gone, so we find out later he comes back. Louis and Claudia make plans to go to France, just because they believe that Claudia believes that that's where most of the vampires in the world have originated, and then Louis is originally from Paris. Yes. So they plan to go there. They haven't been there yet in this section that we've read, as far as I can tell anyway, unless that's another thing that I missed. I don't think I have, though. So they're getting ready to leave, and I just lost my train of thought. They're getting ready to leave, and Claudia is really shocked by Louis' reaction to Lestat's death, where he doesn't know what to do, and Claudia's like, Louis, I wouldn't have killed Lestat if I knew you'd react this way. And it's like, yeah, you would have, you would, because you're a crazy little lady child. So anyway, that's a thing. And then they move somewhere else in New Orleans. They kind of take over this flat. They kill like an entire family and drain their blood, have that for supper, and then move into their flat and just kind of chill out until their boat leaves for France. But when they're in that flat, Lestat returns with a friend whom he turned into a vampire. They call him the music man, I think, or the music player. The musician. They call him the musician. So he shows up with a musician who's now a vampire, and Lestat kind of like runs upstairs, and he's like, Claudia, they're not big fans of each other at this point in time. So what does Louis decide to do? He decides to burn down the flat, just like he did in Pointe du Lac. So I'm sensing a theme in this book, quite honestly. So yeah, he burns down that apartment, and burns the crap out of Lestat. Claudia gets a chance to beat the crap out of him again with a fire poker. Exciting stuff. And then they escape the apartment, and everyone's really confused because there's a flat on fire, and these people just run out. So they get escape, and that's pretty much where our part ends. So I'm most curious about the part with Lestat and the little boy that died from absinthe overdose, and just because that just struck me as really weird. Like, I don't remember him having that kind of reaction with any woman that he's picked up off the street to kill. So I'm curious about what you think about that. And I guess to answer your question about whether or not Lestat has daddy issues, I think it said right away that this is like oh, yes, okay, it says, revenge not only on you, but in the world, suggests the boy. Yes, as I said, Lestat's motives for everything revolved around revenge. Was it all started with the father, with the school? I don't know, I doubt it's the vampire, but I want to go on. So I guess that kind of answers where, Lestat's motivation is a little bit more than his father's, or at least according to Louis, that he doesn't really have daddy issues, he's just crazy. So, yeah. Other than that, asked you about Claudia last time I made it, not the last vampire video we made. So, yeah, I think that's all I really wanted to talk about. That's like that one weird part that really stood out to me. And then, you know, I kind of want to hear your thoughts on this too. Why is Louis burning every place they live in? Almost every place, not every place. But, yeah, those are the biggest things. And then, yeah. Okay, so, for next time, I have roughly the same size of a section. So, and message me if you don't agree with this much to read. So how about like the beginning of part 2 all the way up to the part that says, and that is how it was throughout Transylvania and Hungary and Bulgaria and through all those countries where the peasants know that the living dead walk and the legends of the vampires are bound. That'll be an exciting issue. But apparently that won't be for another two sections, so yeah. Okay. So I should probably catch up on my homework a little bit because this weekend's gonna be like super busy for me personally. Tomorrow I have my first day of work, so I have 3 hours, and then Friday I work 4 to close, and then yeah. And I have a thing called Citizen Katie, so I'll be doing 3 hours of community service. Sounds like I'm in jail. Volunteering hours. I have 3 hours of volunteering on Saturday, so I'll be sorting food in Golden Valley, and it'll be good fun. I'm really excited. I get a free T-shirt, so it's extra worth it. See, it's backwards, I think. So, but it says Citizen Katie, and I'm really excited, and I get a free T-shirt, and I'm really happy. So, that's a thing. And maybe I might have a friend staying with me this weekend, and then we'll make pie for Monday. So it'll be busy, and it'll be really fun. College is fun. I should be getting scheduled like 3 weeks in advance tomorrow for work, so then it'll be much easier to make plans with you. And then, yeah. So we'll talk as soon as I have my schedule, as soon as you probably know your work schedule. So we'll talk in person, online, you know how it goes. Okay, I'm really, really tired. I gotta go take care of some things, and my voice hurts because I've been reading out loud and then doing this video for almost 13 minutes now. That's a new record. No, it probably isn't. Alright. Bye.